The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Namaskara, Swagatam. Today is April 6th, Budhavasaraha. Nutana Samvatsaram. Samvatsaraha. I think Samvatsara is also, neuter as well as a masculine word. Let me check. Samvatsara. 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 Okay, Samvatsara is masculine. Okay, Nutanaha Samvatsaraha. So this is Karanama Samvatsaraha. Okay, let's do the Mangala Sharanam. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bhiyata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Raman Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhotame Bhorama Mamudhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana Onnama Iti Ata Shri Maheshwara Sutrani Ayi Un Rulruk E Ong Ayi Auch Hayavarat Lanya Nyama Na Nam Javain Gadadash Jaba Gadadash Kapha Cha 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 Kapha Cha 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 Tav Kapai Sha Sha Sar Hal Iti Maheshwara Sutrani. Samvatsara is a masculine word, so Karanama Samvatsaraha. Alright, okay. Again, Happy New Year. Nutanasya Samvatsarasya Shubhakangshaha. So last time we're looking at the Samas Anta Prakaranam, and there were actually a couple of questions we raised last time, so I did some homework. Let me share what I found out about those. I think we're talking about, first of all, the Sutram, which I think Kalpesh had asked 2 classes ago. He had asked about the Sahasupa. The Sahasupa Sutram. Actually, I looked in the Mahabhashyam and what it says about Sutram Sahasupa. Refresh your memory, Sahasupa is the Sutram which comes in, of course, beginning of this Samasa Prakaranam, where 214 is Sahasupa. And right before that is Prak Kadarat Samasaha. And Anuvritti of Sup comes down from 212. So we're wondering if this is a Vidhi Sutram or it's a Adhikar Sutram. Second thing also, the question was that whether there's a Yoga Vibhaga to be done over here. Actually, in the Mahabhashyam, actually they have done both of that, the Yoga Vibhaga. So Yoga Vibhaga, because the word Supa is also, first is already a Tritiya Eka Vashanam. So Saha iti Adhyahartum Shakyate. You can easily supply Saha. The Supa would imply Saha with it. And why does Panini say Saha specifically? That is the first point which is raised. And then it says Yoga Vibhaga Karishyate. So this is I'm reading from the Mahabhashyam a little bit now. So in the Mahabhashyam he goes to some discussion and then makes the following, which is also what Kashika says also, Yoga Vibhaga Karishyate. So, and the first is take Saha as a separate sutram. Yoga Vibhaga means, sutra, you take a sutram and make 2 parts out of it in order to explain things that need to be explained. So Saha Supa, Saha Sup Samasyate. So, and it says Kena Saha. So make this Saha Sup as one sutram. Sup Anuvritti and Saha is a separate sutram. So it says Sup gets compounded with another term. This Kena Saha, with what kind of term? Is Samarthena, which has a sambandha with it. It doesn't have to be a Subantam Padam. And then it says, there are these examples which are given in the Vedic literature. We need to put a particular swara on the Samasaha. So the examples given in the Mahabhashyam and Kashika also are Anu Vyachalat, Anupravishat, etc. But these have really no implication for us because we don't have any Swara Prakaranam in this class. So, but anyway, so this Yoga Vibhaga of Sup with taking Saha as just a separate sutram is intended in order to allow the compounding with a Tingantam Padam. We did this in the last class, but in last class I hadn't read the Mahabhashyam literally, so we are not, in the last class, where did we have it in the last class? We had it in the last class. Give me 1 second. No. Okay. Give me 1 second. In the last class, we had it in the, yeah, we're talking about back here in the last class. In the beginning of last class, we talked about the Yoga Vibhaga and also the, okay. So this Sahasupa, in order to justify the rare compounding of Tingantam Padam. And then the other thing which the Mahavasham said is that the next way it goes, it says this, so that's one part. So take Saha as a separate sutram. And then Supasha Saha Samasyate, Sup Samasyate. The second part, the word Supa is the other sutram we can create. The Supa is now a separate sutram, and that says this one is a separate sutram, no Supa. And that means that this Sup can be compounded with another Sup. So now the second complication comes is that is this a Vidhi Sutram or is it a Adhikara Sutram? And there the Mahavasham says is that Adhikarascha Lakshanam cha. So this is the Adhikara Sutram, is also a Vidhi Sutram. The word Lakshanam is used, but in this context means it's a Vidhi Sutram also. So Yasya Samasasya Anyal Lakshanam na asti idam tasya Lakshanam bhavishyati. So this, where there is no other Vidhi to justify a compound like in Gita, which you saw last class, Adrishta Purvam and things like that, those kind of compounds. Yasya Samasasya Anyal Lakshanam nasti idam tasya Lakshanam bhavishyati. This will be the Vidhi Sutram for that. So it will be a Vidhi Sutram. And then also it's also an Adhikara Sutram, which means that in all these remaining places from Avya Bhava, etc. so on, only Sup and Sup can be compounded. If you have a word like Na Karoti, even though the sutram called Nai is there, that doesn't mean you can make a compound and say Akaroti. That you cannot do that. So this Nai cannot, this is an example. So in the remaining of this Samasa Prakaranam up to 229, that Supa also is a Adhikara Sutra. So one more time. So Saha Supa is Yoga Vibhaga. Put Saha separately as one sutram. And the Nyapaka for that is that Supa was already Tritiya Vibhakti, Ekavachanam. You could supply Saha. Panini has put Saha separately. That means that Yoga Vibhaga can be done. And that Yoga Vibhaga doesn't concern us too much. So that's mainly to explain compounding with a Tingantam Padam. And the Prayojanam for that is Swara Vyavastha in the Veda. So we don't have to worry about that too much. But the word Supa which remains is the second sutram, and that takes two roles, which is important for us. And in the words of the Mahabhashyam, Adhikarascha Lakshanancha. And the Lakshanam because Yasya Samasasya Anjan Lakshanam Nasti Idam Tasya Lakshanam Bhavishyati. So this will be the, and that's given in the book, so which is what we are talking in the, this one, is that which cannot be classified under the fourfold division given above or given the general appellation of Supa. That's what this is being done. So that is the thing. It's also a Adhikara Sutram in the remaining part of the Samasa Prakaranam up to 229 is it has to be a Sup with another Sup. So that's the second part. Okay. That was the one question raised last time. Again, I hadn't had a chance to read the Mahabhashyam, but good. See, unless you teach somebody, you can never learn anything. And it really is true. So if we're not teaching it, or not just left it, and not got into these details. So, Vade Jayati Tattva Bodha. So you learn things as you discuss them. So that's one thing. I hope we finally put this Sahasupa to rest after three classes. The next thing, the question which I think I raised myself and didn't quite answer it, I didn't have the answer last time, is the sutram, we're looking at a Samasanta Prakaranam, of course, which we started last time. Samasantaha, which we talked about how these Samasantaha Pratyaha, because it is within the Adhikara of Pratyaya Parascha. So these are Pratyaya, but they are also Tadhitaha, because Tadhitaha starts from 4176 to end of 5.4. So these are Pratyayas. They have their Tadhita Sanya also they have, but they have a speciality in that they come after Pratipadikam, Nyap Pratipadika they come. So we already have a samasa created. Samasa gets the Pratipadika Sanya, Brikutadita Samasascha. Then the samasa and the pratyaya might come after that, and they become the Antya Vayavaha of the samasa. So they kind of go inside that, because the entire samasa again is a Kuttadita Samasascha Pratipadika Sanya, and then we can apply 412 to bring in the, of course, Saujas, Su Aujas Pratyayaha. We talked about this last time. So this is let's say the sutram samasantaha implies that these are pratyayas which can come after a samastam padam, and they can interact with that. They can give that padam the bhasanya and padasanya and all that. But then they also become the ending member of that compound. So they go inside that pradipadikam, and then after that, of course, we'll have to add the suo, just as the case may be, depending on the role of the samasa in the sentence. So within that, we talked about how Panini gives some general rules for samasantaha, and that those go up to 85, 485. Then of course Panini starts Tatpurushasya, that's the Tatpurushasya. These are going to be samasanta pratyaha coming after only after Tatpurusha samasaha. And then here Dvandvat, one sutram for Dvandva samasaha. Then Sat Avye Bhave, Panini has some rules here. And finally it goes down to Bahuvrihau. Now my question last time, which actually I raised myself, was why does Panini put this is a Bahuvrihau down here? You know, Bahuvrihau Sakyakshano Swanga Chacha. So there's a Bahuvrihau here. Then also here's a Bahuvrihau over here now. Bahuvrihau Sanchye Daja Bahuganat. So why have a Bahuvrihau? Why not put this Bahuvrihau down here in this Bahuvrihau? So it's already there. Why repeat Bahuvrihau and put, because it seemed a bit out of place to me. Because here Panini is talking about the general samasanta pratyaha, not for any specific kind of samasa. And within that, he just sticks one sutram in there just for Bahuvrihau. Now my first guess was that some anuvritti is coming down, or anuvritti is being taken down from here. So that was my first guess. So I looked at that, and I couldn't really find any specific anuvritti coming down, because there's no anuvritti coming down in this sutram, because the Dutch pratyaya is being not anuvritti. So that might have explained, you know, why Pani is putting it over here. And everything is, you know, nothing is going down here either, because in the next sutram, the Kashika specifically says it is not only for Bahuvrihi. So anuvritti is not being taken, anuvritti is not being passed down either. So then I said, what is the reason for that? You know, I looked at a lot of books, and finally, you know, I found some explanation in Nagesha Bhatta's, you know, Vrat Shabdendu Shekharaha. Nagesha Bhatta was the disciple of the grandson of Bhattacharya Dikshita, one of the greatest grammarians ever known to mankind. Literally a great inspiration for all of us. He's supposed to have lived over 100 years. I'm sorry, I don't want to spend too much time in the class talking about Nagesha. He's a great inspiration, at least to me. When you think about the work that he has done, it is just phenomenal. I mean, the work that is useful for us, of course, is this Shabdendu Shekhara. There's a Laghu version and a Bruhat version. That's a commentary on the Siddhanta Kaumudi. And of course, he has a commentary on the commentary of Kayyataha and the Mahabhashyam. And also is the Paribhashendu Shekhara. You know, which is all the interpretation, paribhasha, how to interpret them. Now, these are some of the things that we have, but he's supposed to have lived over 100 years and died in 1775 on the day of the Mananas revolt. And he has written, you know, about at least 56 books, including Ramayanam, including Chandipatha, including Mahabhashyam. I mean, it's just unbelievable how much, you know, used to this. So there's all kinds of books that he has written, you know. Paribhashendu Shekharaha, Ashtadhyay Sutra Pataha, Tingdanta Sangraha, Dhatu Vritti also, you know, Kavya Pradipodgha Udyotaha. So lot of, it's just amazing how in one lifetime you can write so many texts on one. So a great inspiration for me, I mean for all of us should be. And apparently he was more than 100 years old. He couldn't walk also. To sit, you know, resting on a wall in Kashi and dictate all these texts beyond 100 years of age. So when we get tired of Vyakaran, we should think about Nagesha Bhatta. So what the things that he has done. Looking at some of the stories about him. Chira Jivitaya Vardhakya Upahata Gatayaha, means he could not walk. Kubjatam Upagata, his back was troubling him. So he had a kind of a hunchback. Gadula Prashtaha Api, Nagesha Bhattaha, Vittim Upashritya. So resting against a wall. Vittau gadula pravesharham chidram cha vidhaya. He made a small kind of a depression in the wall, so he could rest his back. Vidhaya. Tat pravishta prushta gudar bhagaha. So he used to put his, kind of his hunch on the back, inside that. Adeva loka gamanam granthan niramasishuhu. Until he passed away, he kept on writing all these texts. Anyway, so on and so forth. It goes. So Nagesha is just, and in fact, because of Nagesh Bhattaha, Bhattoji's work, which of course Siddhanta comes in the tradition, the tradition of Bhattoji Dikshita, who was his guru's grandfather, has remained so strong and so alive today, because his comments on the Kaumudi and all these things. He defends, of course, the Kaumudi and different ways. Kaumudi was attacked by other people along the way. So, and the Bharat Shabdendu Shekhara is a great place to go and find. It's a real treasure house, and you can find good answers. So much about Nagesha, but it's a very, very, very good. In fact, just a small thing on that. I had gone to UPenn to visit Professor Cardona, and he also used to say that you always want Nagesh on your side. When you make any argument in Vyakaranam, make sure Nagesh is on your side. So anyway, so here in that sutram, I was wondering why is this sutram 5473 Bahuvrihau put over here when Panini is specifically starting Bahuvrihau down below 100 something down here Bahuvrihau. So I couldn't find any answers anywhere, and sure enough, Nagesha has a comment on that. Now the problem is that there's some Partha Vedas here, and one of the ways Nagesha explains is that this is too advanced. We don't have to go into detail right now. But since I raised the question, at least first of all, we didn't miss anything obvious. That's number one. We didn't miss anything obvious. There is a legitimate question. Bahuvrihau. Why is Bahuvrihau over here? And it says Bahuvrihau sakyakshnoho iti prakarane eva tu idam na sutritam. Why was Nagesha asked the question? Is why exactly what we asked Nagesha is asking. Is why didn't the sutram come below that? The fact that he is asking that question means that it's not a trivial question, not something very obvious that we missed. So it is good. So this question we had to be asked, and there's no real very obvious reason now. So one of the ways they explain is that there is a vartikam on this sutram. See, I was looking at the anuvrittis, and I could not find any good reason why to put this sutram here. And the anuvritti, let me go to that one. Not this one. Not this one. There is a anuvritti on this sutram. Let me look at that. Let me find it for you. Okay. This 5474 has 5473 has, sorry, there's a vartikam on there. 5473 and Dutch prakarane sankhyayaha tatpurushasya upasankhyanam kartavyam. Which means in some, this is the vartikam now, is that in some tatpurusha compounds also, this Dutch pratyaya can come. Again, this we don't have to go into right now in all these details, but just there is a vartikam on here. Now, if you look at the sutra patha now, anuvritti was coming here, tatpurushat, and vibhasha was coming. So one way to explain why Panini put this bahuvriya over here is that take the anuvritti of tatpurusha and vibhasha and make it a vyavasthita vibhasha. Means that sometimes in some tatpurushas you can also get this pratyaya Dutch. The anuvritti of tatpurushat and vibhasha, even though in the sutram itself doesn't have use. Sutram says bahuvriha. But you can avoid this vartikam. You can avoid this vartikam by including anuvritti. So that could be a reason. These are all not subtle reasons now. There's nothing very obvious. Why Panini may have put this sutram in this thing. See, in Vyakaranam you have to ask these questions. Keep them pending. That's the fun of Vyakaranam. Even if you don't know the answer, it's okay. I have a whole notebook of questions. I keep a whole notebook. I read all these questions which I don't know the answer to. I put them there. Someday after many years I find the answer. It's something, this was there, because it might be mentioned in a different context. So you may not have connected to something. So in Vyakaranam, ask the question. Of course, there might be something obvious that we missed is possible. Then we have to note that. But these questions, that's how we learn Vyakaranam. Is why is this thing over here? Why is that over there? So one of the ways that this is explained is that, yes, we can use the anuvritti of vibhasha and tatpurushat and avoid possibly this vartikam which is there. Dutch prakarane sankhya tatpurushasya upasankhanam kartavyam. Another way that Nagesh also talks about is that there is this connection between the, and we don't have, let's not go too much detail. I just want to let you know that there are some very subtle reasons why this is put over there. And so because I raised the question last, I don't want to leave it hanging like that. I want to give you some explanation of what is going on. And of course, also introduce you to the greatness of Nagesh Bhatta. And thanks to his grace, a lot of Vyakaranam we're learning today is because of him. So Bahuvrihau, and there's going to be the Kap Pratyaya. Pratyaya Kap, I think as we talked about the Pratyaya Kap. Pratyaya Kap is the last Pratyaya, very last Pratyaya, coming end of 5.4, 5.4. Now, the other subtle explanation is Sheshad Vibhasha. So how this Sheshad connects means, Sheshad Vibhasha means that the Kap Pratyaya, if no other Samasanta Pratyaya is done, then the Kap Pratyaya can be done Vibhasha optionally. Now, how that Kap connects with this Bahuvrihi is over here, and how it connects with the Bahuvri back there, there might be a difference between these two. That's the other reason why Panini may have put this Bahuvriho out of this last Bahuvriho section in order to make a different connection with the Kap Pratyaya. Let me leave it at that for time being. So one more time, last time I raised the question really of why this Bahuvriho is here. We didn't miss anything obvious. It's a good question, and most people have not even, as far as I can tell, have not even asked that question. But in the Shabda, this is the Bruhat Shabdendu Shekhara, which is a commentary on the Siddhanta Kaumudi. There's also Laghu Shabdendu Shekhara, which is more popular, of course. Nagesha raised this question, and there's some Patha Vedas there. One of them might be to bring this Tatpurusha and Vibhasha down here and avoid the Vartikam. One of them might be to make a different connection with the Kap Pratyaya down there, which is coming there, to separate this Bahuvriho from that Bahuvriho, so that subtle connection with Kap. So let's leave it at that, and let's go to today's class now.
Satish ji,
yes.
If you don't mind, can you cut and paste on the class notes just that section from the Sabdendu Shekhara or something like that?
It's not online, Vasu, that's the thing.
Oh, okay. You can put your own notes on.
Yeah, but as I said, that doesn't concern at all right now. We'll come to Bahuvri's, later on. At that time, we'll come back to this one. So this is just my doubt that I will last time. In the book right now, we are not talking about that. So this is not. So I don't want to spend class too much time. But since I raised the question, I should give some explanation. So because we are not connecting with the book right now with this question. So. But anyway, maybe I'll put something in the notes after the class. So, okay. Now in the book, now what we're doing is that we finished this number 1 point, Rik, Rich, Pur, Up, Dhur, Pathin. And at the end of a compound, they become Richa, Pura, Apa, Dhura, Patha. And that was 5474. Derived all these forms. And for the time being, don't worry about the detailed derivation of how the compound comes and all those things, because we are not studied right now the full compound details. We are only looking at the Samasanta Prakaram right now, which is kind of strange because without studying the compound, how can you appreciate the compound? You cannot. So take the compound as it is for the time being, and just look at only what's happening at the end of the compound. So when we did this Sutram 5474 last time, we took some examples, which examples will not make full sense to you right now. But so, Rikpu Rabdhu Patham-anakshe. So this Pradacheda was Rikpu Rabdhu Patham O-anakshe. Pratyaya is O. Pratyaya O is being prescribed here for these words. Rik means rich is the Pradipadikam. Pur, Up, Dhur, and Pathin. For these 5 words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for compound, you take the pratyaya a along with anakshe. Not in the meaning of aksha. Aksha, like this English word axis. English word axis is aksha. Probably maybe the word axle also. The English word axle, also the same thing. Aksha. Aksha can mean axle, also mean the wheel of a car. So when this can, of course, anakshe is only for the dhur, because it doesn't make any sense to put anaksha for the other words like ruk, because they don't have any connection with an axle or a wheel. So the anaksha means not in the meaning of aksha. Is only a limitation on when the dhur will take the pratyaya. The example that we gave last time was Rajadhura. Rajadhura means the responsibility. Even though dhur means like a yoke, the yoke of a cart, it also means the responsibility. Responsibility. So, so here Rajan plus dhur we did last time. And we did all this last time. So we came with Rajadhura, and we also did an example on the Pathin, got Rajapataha. So we looked at these examples. Now the next one that in the book we are looking at, I think he takes the next sutram. The next sutram in the book is, next in Ashtadhyaya I should say, says Saman and Loman, preceded by Prati, Anu, Ava, and then become Sama and Loma. Sama and Loma. Let's look at an example for him. Let's look at the sutram first. So one more time. We are now talking about Samasanta Prakaranam. We're talking about the two words Saman and Loman. And then, Ach Pratyanvava Purvat Samalom Naha. Pratyaya Ach is being prescribed. This is Samasanta Pratyaya. It will become the Antya Vajavaha of the Samasa itself. Pratyaya is Ach. This entire section of Tadhitas, in fact Kudantas also, you have to ask three questions. Is Pratyaya kaha, what is the Pratyaya? So Prakriti hi kaha, what is the Prakriti? And Kasmin arthe pravartate, in what meaning? Pratyaya here is Ach, and it is going to come after a compound which has the Purvat, which is the prior member of the compound should be Prati, Anu, Ava. Pratyan Vava Purvat. Pratyan Vava Purvat. Any new sutram, please repeat it at least 5, 10, 50, 20, 100 times. Ach Pratyan Vava Purvat Samalom Naha. The best you learn Vyakaranam, best way is keep on repeating the sutra. Slowly, they will immediately you will get the jignasa to ask the questions, to know the meaning, to go deeper. So as I told you, my teachers to wake up at 5 in the morning and repeat the Ashtadhyaya. So I mean that's how he knew the sutras so very well. So Ach Pratyan Vava Purvat Samalom Naha. Ach Pratyan Vava Purvat Samalom Naha. So it has to be, it will come after a compound which has Prati, Anu or Ava as the first member. The second member should be Saman or Loman. Saman or Loman. Now let's take an example. Now this, what kind of compound might this be? I said don't worry too much right now what kind of compound it is, how it is formed, which sutram is this formed. This could be, looking at the comment, Tattvabodhini commentary now, it says Avye Bhavaha Paradi Samasaha Bahuvrihirva. So that is the, could be a Avye Bhava compound, could be a Paradi Samasaha, could be Bahuvrihi Samasaha. So that is, that can be different things. So let's take a Vigraha Vakyam. The Vigraha Vakyam, of course, as you know, that explains the compound, explains the vritti, is a Vigraha Vakyam. So let's go to that and let's see what. So now we are talking about 5475, which is Prati, Anu, Ava, with the word Sama or Loma, Saman or Loman Pratipadikam at the end of the compound. They are going to give you this Pratyaya Ach. Let's take only one example. Let's take maybe Anu. Anu. Again, we're not doing full justice right now to this compound because we are not explaining what kind of compound it is, by which sutram the compound came. Let's leave that. When we come to the specific lessons, which will talk about these compound types, we'll go into those details. Then we'll come back and remind ourselves of Samasanta Prakaranam, because the way this book has taken it is that he's putting Samasanta Prakaranam first. So anyway, it's okay. We will kind of accept the compound as it is for the time being. So Anu plus Saman plus the Pratyaya is going to be, in fact, if you want to go into the Samas Vigraha Vakyam, make it Make it So let's do one, even though I said we don't want to go in detail, but let's just put the sutra number here. Let's take the Avye Bhava compound. Let's use Sutram 216 for the time being. I think that should work over here, even though. So let's just use 216. I think that will work. So 216 is what we use. We haven't learned 216 yet, so let's keep it as it is. And then, of course, we do our usual steps, which is Kritadita Samasascha Supo Dhatu Pradipadika Yoho. One thing to notice here, Anu is an Avyayam. It's a part of the Pradiganaha. So So this avyam already has lost the default su pratyaya with it because of the avyadap supaha. So if an avyam is in a compound, if you have an avyayam, then you will not have any sup to begin with because already that sup is already gone by this avyadap supaha. So we put here, we put the saman plus this anu will have nothing with it, anu. So I'll just put here 2484, it is already supluk has happened here, 2482, avyadap supaha, any avyayam. Following that the sup pratyaya takes luk. It's already taken supluk. So supluk has already taken place here by avyadap supaha. Supluk, avyadap supaha. And now we get the pratipadika sanya by kritadita samasascha. This whole thing becomes a pratipadikam. And this pratyaya will now go away because of the, I think we may have put, let's see, saman, anu. Okay, saman plus anu, saman. Okay, that's fine. I think we may have to actually put this saman in beginning here, but it's okay. Let's not worry about those details right now. This one is fine. And then now let us go and do the pratyasya look because of suppo dhatu pratipadika yoho. So now what we'll have is we'll have anusama, we will get. So let's put that over here, anusama. So this one is already gone, and anusaman, and this is by 1246 kritadita samasascha suppo dhatu pratipadika yoho supluk. After that, now comes the pratyaya ach. So we do have the word, the anu as the purva padam. So we have, because the condition there was prati anu ava. So, and then saman is the uttara padam. So now we got the pratyaya ach by using sutram samasantaha, and then use 5475, which is ach pratyan vava purvat samalom naha. Ach pratyan vava purvat samalom naha. Put that over here, put this pratyaya ach, put ach, we are now using the samasantaha and using 5475. Now what happens is that the angam gets the bhasanya, because this ach is also tadita pratyaya, because in the adhikar, remember that, remind yourself of that. Remind yourself all the time. Remind yourself sada smaraniyam. With samasanta pratyayana, tadita sanya vartate. Tadita prakaranantharagatam. This tadita antargataha adhikaraha. This adhikara is inside tadita adhikaraha. This tadita adhikara antargataha samasantaha adhikaraha. Samasantaha. So this taditaha is coming back here, and this also itself is contained in the adhikara of suavjas. So just amount. So first of all we have pratyaya parascha 311312. Then we have the nya pratipadika, so just starting from 411412. Then we have the 4176, the dhitaha, and then we have below that we have the samasantaha. So these are all the swadi pratyayas. Swadi means the moment you hear the word swadi, the angam will get either the padasanya or the bhasanya by this one, swadishva sarvanamasthane and yachibham. So the moment you are any swadi pratyaya, immediately classify the angam as bha or pada, as long as that swadi is not a sarvanamasthana pratyaya. Sarvanamasthana pratyaya only is of course the su of just out or the pratyaya she in the neuter. So that doesn't affect us right now. In the samadhi sarvanamasthana none of the tadditas have any sarvanamasthana sanya. They are only coming for the she sarvanamassthanam trunapumsakasya. So yachibham will give you the bhasanya here. And then what happens in the bhasya dikara, sutram called nastadyate. It's an important sutram that says that the T lopaha takes place. You have a nakarantam angam. And the angam should have the bhasanya because in the bhasya dikara 64120. And that's why the bhasanya is so important. But that calls the subroutine. Bhasanya calls the subroutine, which is bhasya. And that in that sutram is a nastadyate, anurutti of tehe, and lopa is coming down. So if you have an angam ending in a nakaraha, which has the bhasanya, which we do have right now, we have anusaman, and that has the bhasanya because of yachibham. Then we'll take ti lopaha. The pratyaya falling has a tadita sanya, which it does have. So everything is satisfied. So we now apply 64144, And we now get anu, sam, and of course ach means anubandha lope, by halantyam. You don't have to mention that, I think that's obvious. Ach is the halantyam anubandha lope, akaraha. So we will now get sam, okay, sam plus, okay.
Satishi,
Yes.
if you don't know this sutra which asks us to apply the acha, you do the nalobo pradipadikantasiya and you end up having the final form anusama, and then you think you are okay, right? That trap is there, right?
No, but that will only come when that will have the, remember this, see what Vasu is asking, why do we need this sutram? Because what Vasu is saying is that, can we just then do this, take this anusaman, but by which, how do you get the padasanya, Vasu? To apply 827, none of the pradipadikant, you need padasanya for that anusaman.
Okay, you know, the su gets the lopa.
That's only for su, not, let's say you had the pratyaya ta, for example.
No, some also gets the lopa, right?
No, see, anusaman will get the pradipadik sanya by krutadil samasascha. Then you have to bring in the pratyaya su of just as appropriate.
Yes, then you brought the and then will go away, right?
No, was, no, be careful, you're confusing two things now. Yeah. Was inside the pratipadikam. Now, when you make this, you form the compound anusaman. Remove the so anusaman was formed. Now, this anusaman will take a new pratyaya, whatever it might be, so it might be again. So that will not go by 2471. The pratyaya inside the pratipadikam only goes, not after the pratipadikam. So this was inside the pratipadikam in the vigraha vakyam. That will go. If you take anusaman now and look at its role in the sentence, it might take the pratyaya ta, it might take bhyam, it might take whatever it might be, depending how it is used in the sentence.
When that goes, then you get the padasanya, don't you? No?
No, you get the padasanya only supting antam padam. And you know, it is, and the, of course, this, the 1417, which is Swadishwaramasthane, Swadishwaswaramasthane. So now, right now, this is only a pratipadikam that we got, anusaman. This pratipadikam will now take the, yes.
Satiji.
Yes.
Just of course, I don't agree with the whole thing, but just to carry further, you know, if Anu can get a padasanya, so does Saman also get a padasanya while being in the pratipadikam or no?
It does.
Okay.
It does get there. So Saman has the, let's take this, okay, now let's Kalpesh ask this. Okay, Kalpesh, let's see. Let's take a word like Anusaman. Again, let's not worry about whether the pratyaya ta can be used, just hypothetically. Let's take a word like Anusaman, okay. Let's say at the pratyaya ta, Kalpesh is a good question actually. Let's say you take Anusaman. Forget about the pratyaya ach for time being. Let's say it is not there, okay. Let's take some other samasa, you know. Let's take a word like Sundara Naman, a good name. A beautiful name. Okay, let's take a Karmadharya compound. Sundara Naman. There's no pratyaya ach coming at the end. Let's take Sundara Naman. So Sundara plus Su, Naman plus Su. So now that Su has gone because of 2471. Here Sundara Naman you have now. Now when you add a pratyaya ta to that, Kalpesh, what happens is that yes, you are right, that the word Sundara as well as Naman had the padasanya because of the pratyaya lakshanam and the supting antam padam. But now when the pratyaya ta comes with Sundara Naman as the compound now, by yachibham is the parakaryam, and it's also in the ekasanya adhikaraha. That entire thing, that Sundara Naman, will now get the bhasanya, Kalpesh. It will not have the padasanya anymore. So it will become a Sundara Namna. You have to get the alopaha. Alloponaha. So when you decline Sundara Naman with the ta pratyaya, the Sundara Naman now has the bhasanya. Doesn't have the padasanya, even though Naman had the padasanya by the pratyalakshanam supting antam padam. Now when the Sundara Naman is followed by ta, it's ajadi pratyaya. Pratyaya ajadi. So yachibham is going to come. and that's in the ekasanya adhikara. So the entire thing Sundara Naman will have the bhasanya. You have to have alloponaha, Sundara Namna, Sundara Namna. We have to have the bhasanya. Or you cannot do alloponaha. So is that okay, Kalpesh? Or confusing?
Is that the reason why this Ekada Ekasanya, Akada Ekasanya comes here because of that reason?
The Akada Ekasanya is going to come because when the Bhasanya comes here, when the Bhasanya, 1418, when the Yachibham comes, he's going to knock out the Padasanya status.
Yeah. So that is the real reason then, right?
Yeah, definitely. You are in the Akadara Ekasanya Adhikaraha. So again, Kalpesh's point about, and your point also is that, we already, Saman had the Padasanya by the Supting and some Padam. It does have. But then what's going to happen, depending on which Pratyaya comes after, it can lose that Padasanya now. Because of Yachibham coming on top of it. Their entire Samastam Padam, that Angam, that entire Angam will now get the Bhasanya. So yes, inside the Samasaha, what happened was that Sundara plus and Naman each had the Padasanya. But Sundara Naman, when the Angam, that entire Angam now gets the Bhasanya. That Nakara at the end now is no longer Padanta Nakara because the Bhasanya has come on top of it. That's going to stop that. So Kalpesh, is that okay? I think your phone is not working.
Yes. Okay. Even if we do it right, then still you do the Nakara, Upadar, Dirgha and all that will happen, right? So it will not, you won't get the same form anyway.
No, you will not get, that will be, so you don't want Padasanya. So you don't want Padasanya, and you want to get the Bhasanya Pratyaya is when the Pratyaya is Ajadi. Ajadi Jakaradi. You want the Bhasanya. So anyway, so that's what is happening here. So now you have Anu Sama plus and become Anu Sama. That's going to become the compound. Then you have the Pratyaya. You can add the Pratyaya, whatever it is. So that's the example. Let me see what Kashika example, what he has given in Kashika. So let's see. 5470, 5475, 5475. 5475 is Pratisamam Anusamam. Okay, what's happening here is that Pratisamam Anusamam, because this. Okay, what happened is that we created a Avyabhava compound now. Avyabhava compound, the name implies are all Avyas, of course. That's the meaning of that's what happens in Avyabhava compound. And normally what you should have had is you should have had a sutram which we just use is Avyadap Supaha. Avyadap Supaha. So following an Avyam, the sup takes a look. But what happens is that in an Avyabhava compound, again we're not studied this as yet, so take it, we'll come back to this again. In Avyabhava compound, which ends in a short akaraha, the prati becomes instead of sup look, the sup becomes Sup becomes, which Anantaram Sutram, the next sutram after Avyadap Supa is that, Na Avyabhavadato amto panchamyaha. So what I'm trying to do in the Kashika, the final form is Pratisamam, because to create Anusamam. So when you create an Avyabhava compound, when you add the default Pratyaya Su, normally should have a Sup look because of 2482, which is Avyadap Supaha. But in a Avyabhava compound ending in the short A, if the Sup instead of taking look can become and then you get Amipurvaha become Anusamam. So this is beyond. So this job, our job is done right now. Making Anusama is done. It's an Avyabhava compound. So then what I will do now is that I will put the next step, which is really not our business right now, but I'll put it here to complete the example. To complete the example, let's do Anusama plus the default, let's say Pratyaya Su, when you add by 412 because it's an Avyayam. You should have had really Anusama itself, but instead you get the form Anusamam because of 2483 is a special rule which says that in an Avyabhava compound, and without going through all the details, which is ending in a short akaraha, Instead of taking supluk, the su becomes and you get the amipurvaha. And regardless, this is the extra step, but our job was done here when we add the pratyaya, ach pratyaya. So one more time, this 5475 is telling us that if you have this prati anu ava, pratyanvava, purvat, pratyaya ach will come, and along with this followed by sama or loman. So that was the one thing in the book which is talking about this point over here, saman and loman. Prati or anu become sama and loma because you get the, as you say, we get the bhasanya, and we do nastadhyate. Very important sutram, nastadhyate, 64144. It comes in the vasyadikaraha. We take the T lopaha. If the angam ends in nakaraha, it has a bhasanya. The following pratyaya is tadyata pratyaha. So anusama, then it becomes anusamam because of 2483. Next, there are two vartikams here now, which is bhumi preceded by Krishna and Pandu, or a numeral becomes bhuma. So this is the vartikam on 5475. The vartikam on 5475. So let's look at that one, and it is down here, which says that okay, Krishna udak Pandu purvayaha bhumehe achpratyasmataha. Achpratyasmataha. Achpratyaha can also come after this word bhumi in the second part. So Krishna udak Pandu purvayaha. So this in the book he has not given the word udak. So let's only take Krishna and Pandu, which is what in the book he has given. So Krishna udak Pandu purvayaha bhume rachpatyaha smataha. It's like a vartikam basically. Godavaryaschya nadyascha sankhyayaha uttare yadi. So one more time. If you have this word bhumi, if you have the word bhumi, so this thing says that Krishna bhumaha, Pandu bhumaha, udak bhumaha. Preceded by the Krishna, udak or Pandu. In the book he has only given these two, which is the Krishna and Pandu. So dark or white. Bhumi of course means ground. What kind of compound can this be? So what this Tattvabodhi is saying is ach iti yoga vibhagena natartham midam. So ach iti yoga vibhagena. So this entire vartikam can be bypassed by doing yoga vibhagaha. Yoga vibhagaha. This ach will also come in other situations also. That's another way to exclude this vartikam, is that sometimes the pratyaya ach can come in place of other compounds also. In fact, the very famous Padmanabha, how about that one? Padmanabha, Vishnu. So Padmam Nabho Yasya Saha. So Padmanabhi, I think pratyaya. Tat Vidhayaka Sutram na vartate. That, ach pratyaya Vidhayaka Sutram na vartate asmin samase. There is no sutram or vartikam that we have to form the word Padmanabha. This is what I'm saying. This compound is not like mathematics. You have to make some adjustments. You have to do yoga vibhaga sometimes. Sometimes the samasana pratyaya may not come also. May not also come. Because this samasanta pratyaya is called anityaha. It may not come also. So samasantas are a little bit of fluid situation. You have to be able to accept some exceptions. Sometimes they may not come. Sometimes they may come in other situations also. So Panini has put the rules as best as he can, but there will be a word like Padmanabha. It of course is a famous word, but there is no sutram to make the form Padmanabha. So now what you do? So you have to do yoga vibhaga over here. So this sutram ach pratyanvava purva samulomnaha has to be split into ach as a yoga vibhaga. Otherwise, you cannot explain words like Padmanabha. You cannot explain those words. So once you do yoga vibhaga, then you don't need the vartikam anymore. Because yoga vibhaga is anivarya. It is unavoidable. It's unavoidable. To explain form like Padmanabha, you have to do yoga vibhaga. And when yoga vibhaga is done, that means that other words included now. Then you don't need the vartikam anymore. So you can account for that. So this Tattvabodhi says achiti yoga vibhagena gata artham. Gata it means that one who is redundant. This Vartikam is redundant Vartikam. Redundant because of it is not necessary. Gata artham, Bahuvri compound, Gata artha yasya saha, yasya tat Vartikam. So this Vartikam not necessary. And he says, and even the other Vartikam on this Sutram also is the same way. So Krishna Bhumaha Bahuvriyaha. So one, if you can take a Bahuvri compound, Krishna Bhumaha. It may be like a house or a palace in which the floor, this is dark floor. Krishna Bhumihi Yasya Saha. Prasadaha. Consider it like that. So let's take one quick example. So one more time, we're looking at a Vartikam which we may not even need because of the fact that we have to do Yoga Vibhaga, to take ach out of it in order to explain a word like Padmanabha. But anyway, the Vartikam is here. Krishnodak Pandupurvayaha Bhumehe ach pratyasmataha. The Krishna Udak, the typo here should be Murdini Shakaraha. Krishna, Udak and Pandu, when you have this as the preceding member and the second member is Bhumi, Pratya Ach is understood to come. That's the use in the language. Even the Panini doesn't put that. We have to extend 5475. Extend 5475. So then we have to just make it a Vigra Vakyam, like make it, okay, let's make it like this. Make it Krishna. We'll make it a Bahuvri compound again. Don't worry about the Vigra Vakyam too much right now. We're going to skip some details. And so plus make it Bhumi plus so Krishna Bhumi Yastya Jaha Prasadaha. So what we have really used is that we have used this Sutram 2224 Anekamanya Padarthe. It's a Bahuvri compound. We'll come back to it in later lessons, so don't worry about it. So Anekamanya Padarthe. There's one more complication here. Vigra Vakyam is Krishna Bhumi. Now what happened to the Kta Pratyaya then? Because this is now we say Krishna Bhumaha. Vana Krishna Bhumaha.
Pumvat Bhavaha. Pumvat Bhavaha.
Very good. Pumvat Bhavaha. Become Pumvat. The adjective Krishna has become Pumvat. It become like the masculine. There's Sutram, we won't go into detail right now, but Sutram in 6.3, there are two of these rules, 6.3, very long, strange Sutram. Striya Pumvad Bhashita Pumsakadanung Samanadikarne Striyamapurani Priyadishu. Anyway, this 646334 is basically saying that if you have the Samadikaranam, then this feminine adjective over here will become Pumvat. There are some more conditions here, but let's not get into too much details. I'm going to put the numbers here. It's 2224 and 6334. We'll come back to these later. So 2224, you also will need 6334. Now apply usual steps, which will do the Kritya Samasascha, Supo Dhatu Padvidikayoho. I think by now this should be very easy, second nature for you. So you're going to hear this for the next year. So get ready for it. For the next year, you're going to hear this in every single class. It is the Kritya Samasascha, Supo Dhatu Padvidikayoho. And again, after some time, we won't repeat it anymore. So 1, 2, 46, and after that, you're going to get the 2, 4, 71, Supluk. And after that, we're going to then make it Krishna Bhumi plus Ach, either by Yoga Vibhagaha or by doing accepting the Vartikam, which is given in the Kashika. So Krishna Bhumi plus Ach, and in the same way as we did before. So 5, 4, I just put Vartikam here for the time being. So 5, 4, 74, either the, okay, I'll put it like that, either the Vartikam or the Yoga Vibhagaha. Okay, we'll do it like that. And now the same steps. Bhasanya, Krishna Bhumi gets the Bhasanya because of Yachibham. And then we get Yasyeti cha. Yes, very important sutram. Yasyeti cha. Which is the Yasyeti cha means that if you remember long back when we did the Vana Shabda, Vanam Vane Vanani, in the Prathama Dvitiya Dvivachanam, we had Vana plus the Pratyaya, of course, Au or out. And then what happens is that the Au or out, because what I'm going to try to tell you is that this Sutram, Yasyeti cha, we have studied previously. Right in the very beginning, when we did vanam vane vanani, in vane, when we had situation of vana plus au, for example, that au became she by napumsaka, 7-1 napumsaka cha, aunga apa napumsaka cha. So we had vana plus she. So that vana, when followed the pratyaya she, gets the bhasanya. And so that akara lopaha prapyate, that ending akara of vana is subject to lopaha navayasyati cha. Then we went to a vartikam and we avoided that akara lopaha. So one more time. When we do the prathama dvitiya dvivachanam, vana shabdasya, nya shabdasya va, vana au, vana she, napumsakacha. That's anubandhalope, vana e, अत्र अंगस्य भसंज्ञा वर्तते यचिभम इति सूत्रेण तस्मात् अन्त्यकारस्य लोपः प्राप्यते. The ending akara will not take lopa. If you recall this, at that time we said that this is a very important sutram, yasyeti cha, which is only a nuisance. It's only a nuisance. It's only a badha. So I'm declaring vana shabdaha. But it is going to come very handy in many situations. So 148. This sutram says that ivarnantasya avarnantasya bhasya ikare, is a typo here, ikare pratadhyate cha lopa bhavati. So very, very important sutram, very, very important sutram. Yasyeti cha says that if you have an angam which has the bhasanya, it's a part of the bhasya dikara. So please make this note of this today. You need it many, many, many times, many, many, many times. In the bhasya dikara, Sutram 148, yasya means, it's the yant sandhi going on here. Ivarnantasya, avarnantasya, bhasanyakasya angasya. It is an angam which ends in the e varnaha, or the long or short, ikaraha or ikaraha, and avarnantasya, iti cha. So iti also tadjite also. So followed by either a tadjita pratyaya, which is what we have right now, or the ikaraha, which we don't have right now, but the ikara is three pratyaya ikara. Then what happens? Lopa bhavati, alontyasya. So the ending e varnaha or the ending a varnaha of an angam which has the bhasanya, followed by either a tadjita pratyaya or the ikaraha, that will take lopaha. Yasyeti cha. So we do have all those conditions here. We have angam ending in the ikaraha. Pratyaya ach, of course, has the bhasanya also, yachibham, because it's pratyaya ach is anubandha lope, we get yachibham. And then this is a tadjita pratyaya. We already talked about that. It's in the tadjita adhikara 4176. Tadjita starts from 4176. But in the 5th chapter, so it's samasanta pratyaya, also tadjita pratyaya. So in all that we put together, we're going to get the ikar lopaha, tat paschat asmakam karyam samaptam. So get Krishna Bhuma plus Krishna Bhuma. And then you had, of course, declined that. So what we did here was, we got Yachibham, and then we got 64148. Please make a note of 64148 very carefully today. It's going to come a lot of times in the future, and also 64144. So next Sadyate and the Yasyeti cha. So Krishna Bhumaha, and same thing. Now this Bhuma will qualify somebody, can say Parasadaha. So it can say it's like a palace whose styling, whose floor is dark. We can make an adjective to anything. So let's go back to the book now and see what he has given us. He's given Bhumi precedes only the word Bhumi. In fact, Udak Krishna, Udak or Pandu, or a numeral. Numeral also. So now what's that numeral coming from? Let's look at that one. That's the second part of the same Vartikam. Let's look at 5475. So let's say it is a palace which has 4 floors. Chatur Bhumaha Parasadaha. It has a four-storied palace or a house, what you can call it. So this Krishnodak, again a typo here, Krishnodak Pandapurvayaha Bhumaspratyasmataha Godavaryashcha Nadyashcha Sankhyaya Uttarapade. Actually, no, wait a minute. Let me see. because the way that it reads, it looks like only Godavari or Nadi. Should be. Let me just check. Give me 1 second. I'll just make sure that. No, okay. Bhumi also. Okay, fine. So, Dibhumaha, in the Siddhanta Kaumudi example, Dibhumaha prasadaha, Dibhumaha, Dibhumaha, Dibhumaha. Dibhumaha means this two-storied palace. So, word Dvi is there, and you can say, you can say Dve Bhumi Yasaha, which has two floors. So the same steps, we can go to numerals of same steps. Angam will get the bhasanya, yasya ticha, ikar lopaha, become dibhumaha, panchabhumaha, saptabhumaha, and so on. Now Godavari, and this is not the Nadi, this Godavari is not the Godavari, the river Godavari that we know. This Godavari is I think, let's look at the word Godavari in Apte. This means like a stream. This Godavari is not the Godavari that we are used to, mean the specific. So Nadi, the Vishesha Nadi, it's not a Vishesha Nadi. Godavari is, I think here only meaning, I think the, Godavari. Godavari. Okay. Anyway, I don't know if I'm not finding Godavari in Update. Let me just look at my Update. Godavari, because it should be there in Update, right? Godavari. So Godavari here is used in the sense of a stream or a tribulate, kind of stream of water, not the woods. That's Pancha Godavari. That means that it is one. Okay, Indu. Did you find it? Let me ask. Yes, Indu, did you find it, Godavari?
Yeah, page 671.
Okay, it's there. But the online one doesn't find it for some reason. I don't know. It's not finding it.
671.
Yeah, I have it. No, I'm saying the online one did not find Godavari. Right. Oh, it's under Go, is it? Okay.
Under Go, right.
That's where you have to go. So Godavari, okay, Godavari. What mean does it give for Godavari? Godavari, 6, Godavari, name of a river.
Name of a river, yeah.
That's all he gives. Goda, name of a river. I don't think that's the meaning in this context. In fact, I think if you look at Bhimsen Shastriji specifically said this Godavari is not that Godavari. Let me just see if I can find the sutram in the. Let me try to find it. 1 second. Acha. Okay, Samasanta Prakaranam. I read it somewhere. I think first. Give me 1 second. No. But I think this is not that Godavari. I'll double check that. I'm pretty sure this is not that Godavari. But look at the meaning also that is given, because the example that is given here, this is Sankhya. How can you have 5 Godavaris? That doesn't make any sense. It's preceded by a numeral. Comes Nada and Godavara. So you can say, so this one, so you can say Pancha Nadyaha, Yasya, so Yasyaha. This is what we have to take. So this is the example given in the Panchanadam, something which has, it has 5 streams. So Panchanadam, Sapta Godavaram, it has 7 streams on it. So this is not going to be that river Godavari that we know. It's not going to be that. In this case also nothing the same thing. When you put Panchan plus you take Nadi and Panchan plus okay, I'll put in the document. Panchan plus the Jas, Nadi plus Jas, or Godavari plus Jas, same thing. So you're going to get the all the same steps that we had before, and yes, Cheticha here also. So we get Panchan or Saptan, whatever you want to put over here, plus Jas, plus you can either take Nadi or you can take Godavari, plus same thing, Jas, one which has 5 streams, and then we get the Pancha, I'll put it like this, Panchanada or Panchagodavara. Panchanada, Panchagodavara by falling. Actually, what I should do is that first make it like this. Make it Pancha plus Nadi or Godavari. And then we'll add this, add the pratyaya Ach after that. Ach, that is Vartikam on 5475. So 5475. And then Vartikam or Yoga Vibhaga, either way, same thing as before. And then we're going to get Pancha, Panchanadam. So, sorry, Panchanada, I'll get Pancha Godavari, same thing, Godavara, I'm sorry, Godavara. So again, this we have used, in fact, back here itself, we have used this, Kritadisa Samasascha, Supodhadu Pradipatikayoho, 2471, but the Ach was added. Then here we have used the Yachibham, and Yascheticha, remove the ending Ikaraha, and also for the Panchan, Nakar Lopaha, by Suptingantam Padam, and then Nunapradipadikantasya. So Panchanada, Panchagodavara.
So PC,
Yes.
is it possible, because you say it is a Bahuvani Samasa and then it is an adjectival sense, Panchanada Desham, for example, is Punjab.
Desha, Panjab. Yes, Punjab. How about the word Punjab, by the way? How about that one, Punjab? So that's a good one, Punjab, right? So Punjab is a state.
Yeah.
So you can say Punjab. So Panjabaha, Desha. So now can we use this one sutram? This our like we did last time in the class. Can we use that? 5474. Rukkap, Ruppurabdhu Pathamanshe, Anakshe. We say so. So in fact we did it last time, right? So we says Pancha Apaha Yasya Saha Deshaha. It is a country, it is a region which has 5 rivers, five waters. So there, I think we can use 5474. Put the pratyaya become Panjab.
Similarly, in the case of Godavari, even though single river, if it refers to 5 villages on the banks of the river, it may be Pancha Godavari.
No, what's the Vigravakyam? Pancha Godavarya Yasya. So it is one which has 5 Godavaris. You cannot change that. There can be 5 villages. It has to be 5 Godavaris, not 5 villages. So Pancha, because Vigravakyam is Pancha Nadyaha, so Pancha Godavarya Yasya. So now we need 5 Godavaris. So it is not going to be the meaning of that one river. So Godavari has another meaning, which is just like meaning like Nadi, So it has to be 5 Godavaris, or whatever, 6, 9, 10, something like that, whatever Godavaris. Anyway, so I'm pretty sure of that. I cannot find it right now, the exact reference, but that is the meaning here. Of course, in the book he has not given that clarification, but so this is what happens. So when you look at, Panchanada or Panchagodavara, it's the same thing, Saptanada, Saptagodavara, because finally we have to use Yes Cheticha, Yes Cheticha, yes. Let me highlight this one, Yes Cheticha. Yes Cheticha is important sutra. Bhasanya, Yes Chetpatya, Acha. So now that completes the discussion of this 5475 along with the Vartikam. So one more time, he was talking about the Prati, Anu, Ava preceding Saman or Loman. Then we got the Yoga Vibhaga being done here, or a Vartikam being given here, when the word Bhumi preceded by the Krishna, Udak, or Pandu of course means white. Then okay, Indu is the question. Yeah, 5 tributaries, yeah. Means 5 tributaries is correct. It's correct, Indu. 5 tributaries is correct. So it can also be, it can be a stream which has 5 tributaries. That could be. Then we had this Sama and Loma, then also we had the Bhumi preceded by the Krishna, Pandu or Udak, and then we also have and also a number also, and then we had Godavari Nadi preceded by a number. We'll also take the Pratya Acha. The next thing in the book that he talks about is this the Chatur. Chatur preceded by 3 or Upa becomes Chatura. Okay. Now this is a special kind of Bahavari compound, which we won't go into detail. But how do you form this compound? Thrichaturaha. Trichaturaha means 3 or 4. 3 or 4. For that one, let us look at this sutram 2225, which is sutram which will give us that one. So 2225. If you look at the Bahuvri section, Anekamanya Padarthe, which is our main sutram for Bahuvri, is 2224. Anekamanya Padarthe. And then comes Sankhyaya, Vyaya, Sanna, Dura, Zika, Sankhya, Sankhyaye. Look at the vritti of that. It's a nice long sutram for us. So 2225 is a long sutram. Let's look at what it's saying. 2225. Now it's not today's topic, but we need to look at least briefly in order to form the compound Trichaturaha. Sankhyaye, when it denotes a number. Ya Sankhya Vartate. So there is a number going into a compound. The compound is also denoting a number. Taya Saha. And with that, when you have a compound with a number, with an avyaya, asanna, adura, adhika, or sankhya, samasyante, bahuvri samasa bhavati, upadashaha, means these are some people or some a number which is close to 10, upadashaha. Upavimshaha is also because this is dashan pratipadikam, upadashan. And then that what happened is that took the pratyaya. The first one, before we look at this one, okay, let's complete this one now. So upadashaha, upavimshaha, that's an avyam can be compound with a number, or you can have asanna dashaha, same thing, close to 10, approximately 10. Asanna dashaha. It's very good to know these compounds because you can use them when you speak. So kati janaha agataha asanna dashaha means there are approximately 10, means probably 9 or 11. 9, 10, 11 people. So they're not exactly 10. Approximately 10 people came. Approximately 20 people were there. So asanna vimshaha janaha. There were approximately 20 people there. And so on. Adura dashaha. Not very far from 10. So these words, an avyayam, asanna, adura, adhika, and also another number. Like it says, Trichaturaha means 3 or 4. 3 or 4 people came. Panchashaha. So 5 or 6 people came. So these are all the Bahuvri compounds which denote a number. And in that compound itself, there is a number at the end, and the preceding member of the compound can be either an avyayam, or the word asanna, or adura, or adhika, or another number. So right now we can look at this either Trichaturaha. We can look at asanna chaturaha. Doesn't matter. Again, don't worry too much about the sutram right now. We'll come back to this when we study Bahuvri compounds. But right now, just accept the fact the Bahuvri compound is being formed by the sutram 2225. It has the word chatur at the end. And we now want to use this Vartikam on 5477. 5477. But how about these words like these? How about this upavimshaha, upadashaha? That the word chatur is not there. Then how come that also become the akaranta? So let's look at 5477. Okay, from 27. So look at this. It's a long sutram. That has a vartikam on it. This 5477 has a vartikam on it. So let's look at this 5477 towards the end, I think. Okay. It's towards the end of 5477. There's a long sutram which you're going to look at a little bit later on. But let's not go into that one. Let's just pick up the vartikam which we need for the time being. It's 5477 vartikam. 5477 vartikam. And at the very end it says that okay. Chатuraha prakarane tri upabhyam upasankhyanam. Okay, I'm sorry. Only when the word 3 or upa is preceded by that. Only when 3 or upa precedes chatur, then you get this pratyaya ach. So 3 chaturaha, upachaturaha means that 3 or 4 people, or they are close to 4 people. So 3 chaturaha, upachaturaha. That's just 5477. Now let me also remind you one thing. Is that how about 5473? 5473 was telling us, this is the one we talking at the beginning of the class, about Bahuvri how. Sankhyaye means when a Bahuvri compound denotes a number. Dach abahuganat. Dach abahuganat. So that sutram which is not really in the book right now, but That why could we not use that? Because when we are using the form upadashaha, means approximately 10, and upavimshaha approximately 20, then at that time using 5, 4, 73, let's briefly do that one first. Then we can see why this vartikam is required. Why do we need the vartikam? We need the vartikam. Let's take upa. Upa is an avyam, so there will be no sup after that. And let's take the word dashan. Dashan. Add the pratyaya jas. Pratyaya jas. Means close to 10. Goes to 10. Now, when we take that and then we want to make a compound out of it, now here we can use 5473, add a pratyaya dach to that, and make it skipping some steps now, the usual steps. So we can make it upa dashan plus dach. So we can do like that. Now what happens is that the da will go T lopaha. See, now this now you realize how the bhasya adhikara is so important to us. Because here also in the pratyaya dach, of course, anubandha lope because of chutu halantyam pratyaya dach. Again, this is not what the book is talking about right now, but I want to tell you why this will not work for chatur. Why for chatur this will not work? Then we can appreciate the vartikam. Why the vartikam is required for this one. So now in this case, upadashan, when we have, then we can do the T lopaha now because the does and it by sutram tehe. Just like we had yesterday teacher today, just like we looked at the sutram which is the nastabdite, the sutram tehe. These are all important rules in the bhasya adhikara. These are all important rules in the bhasya adhikara. The pratyaya dit pratyaya follows, pratyaya diti, anustiv diti comes down. Then an angam as the bhasanya, he takes T lopaha. Diti parataha. One more time. If the angam has the bhasanya, pratyaya following has does and it, then the T bhagaha of the angam takes lopaha, tehe. Today we've seen 3 sutras now. We saw tehe, which we look at right now, nastadhite, which we saw earlier, nastadhite, and we also saw yasyati. All these are important rules, very important rules. This is an angasya adhikara, of course, not the main topic right now, but remember these, yasyati cha, nastadhite, and the tehe. So tehe could be used here. Because this pratyaya is following, dach is following, the T bhaga will take lopaha, and then we'll get upadashaha janaha, upadasha. So upa, we get dash plus the, so what we got the, in fact here, let me just already make it I used, of course, the Krutija Samasascha Supodhatu Pradipidikayoho 2471, and we used 5473. 5473 is what we used, 5473 to get the form Upadashaha. And that was Bahuvrihav Sankhyaye Dach Bahu Ganat. Dach Abahu Ganat. As long as Bahu or Gana is not there, Dach Pratyaya will come in a Bahu at the end of a Bahuvri compound, which is denoting a number. In a Bahuvri compound, it denotes a number, stands for a number. In that case, the pratyaya dach will come as long as it doesn't have Bahu or Gana at the end. So now this we have then got this one by Yachibham, and then do Tehe, 64143. Now, why can we not do the same thing for Upachatur also? Because if you do a T lopa of Chatur, the Ur will be gone. The T lopaha by Tehe will not give us the correct form. We want the word Upachaturaha or Trichaturaha. Chatura, we want to get Chatura. The T lopaha of Chatur is Ur. That Ur is removed, we will not get the form Upachatura, Trichatura. That's why we need this vartikam on 5477 to put the pratyaya ach, not Dutch, but ach. So when we similarly I'll put here, and we skip some steps over here, is we'll get the upa plus chatura Chatur, I'm sorry, Chatur. I'm skipping some steps now. Pratyaya ach by the 5477 Vartikam. 5477 Vartikam to give the this down here to give us the form Upachatura, and similarly also Trichatura. So approximately 4 or 3 or 4, no, 3 or 4 Upachatura, and here 5473 will not work, would not have worked here, so would not work here, would not give us the correct form here. Now that is why the Vartikam is required. Will not work here. Upachatura and also Trichatura, same way. Similarly, Trichatura also, Trichatura, same way, 3 or 4. So that's this is what. So one more time, what the Vartikam is saying is that if you had the word Chatur at the end of a Bahuri compound and it is preceded by Upa or 3, then you get the Pratyaya ach at the end if the entire compound starts talking about a number. So Chaturo ach prakarane Triyupabhyam upasankhyanam. That's what it says. So similarly, we get 3 Chatura, 3 or 4. 3 or 4. Now give me 1 second. I think the Vigraha Vakyam of this one, we may have to do the Pratyaya, I think, Shas, not Jas. I think Upagataha Dasha. Give me 1 second, okay, because that's the Sutram which we are using, which is, I want to check that. It's not important for us right now because it doesn't matter what we have, Jas or Shas. In either case, you're going to get the Supluk by Supo Dharapadipati. Just to be correct, just to be correct, let us see what the Sankhyayaha Supurva Hamvyasan. Yeah, 204. Checking the Vigraha Vakyam of this one. I think Shas might be better. Okay. Oh, this says Am Pratyaya. Dashanam Samipe. Oh, Upa. Okay, the Vigraha Vakyam is that Dashanam Samipe Ye Vartante Te Upadashaha. Oh, so Dasha plus Am plus Upa. Alright, so we'll take that one. I knew this just was wrong. I was thinking of Shas, but I think we'll put the Am over here. So it doesn't matter. It won't affect any of our steps because we're only looking at the Samasanta, and this Am is going to go anywhere. So Dashanam Samipe Ye Vartante Te Upadashaha. Okay, so that's what is the next point in the book. This was, we needed the Vartikam. I want to walk through this 5473 first to tell you that is really the default rule coming here, that will not work for Chatur, do T Lopaha. But in any other word, any other number you have to use 5473. But 5477 Vartikam is required because of that. But you not get the form Chatura if you do the T Lopaha. Okay, next thing in the book. Now, Varchas, preceded by Brahman, Hastin, Palya, or Rajan, Varchasa. So Varchas is, Varchas means like, virility, like the glory, the luster, that kind of meaning of Varchas. Meaning of the word Varchas has different meanings. So let me give you some examples. Let's see what Apteji says Varchas. Varchas. Brahma Varchas is the luster, the Raja Varchas, or maybe the power, virility of Varchas. Varchas, let's see what Apteji's meanings. Vigor, energy, power, light, luster, brilliance, splendor. So this is the kind of meaning. So Brahma Varchas, Hasti Varchas, Palya Varchas, Palya. Interesting word, Palya. I think Palya is a meat eater. Palya. I think this is Palya. So this is Shashita Purusha compound. Says Palya. So Palam Mamsam Arhati iti Palyaha. Mamsa Bhoji Tadiyam Varchaha. Palya Varchas. The strength of power of one who eats meat, I guess. So Palya Varchas. Anyway, interesting words. So you can just make it. So let's. So I think there's nothing really special here. We just put one. Let's say the strength of a elephant. We'll do that. So make it simple. Shashita Purusha Samasaha, and let's put the Vigraha Vakyam here quickly. There's no special operation here. no special operation here. So all we have to do is make it a thin plus let's put the pratyaya nyas, shashti tatpurushaha plus varchas, astin plus varchas, astin plus varchas. So this sutram is saying is that ach pratyaya syat. So let's do that and then make it su. And this is by, of course, sutram is shashti. So this sutram which authorizes shashti tatpurushaha. This comes in 2 to 8. 2 to 8 shashti. 2 to 8. Right, don't worry about 2 to 8 right now. Just put the number down here. We'll come back to it when we look at the details. So 2 to 8 is sutram for shashti tatpurushaha. We'll do that. And then we'll, of course, remove this sup by our usual steps. Sutadita samasascha, supo dhatu pradivitkayo. I think from the next class, you won't put these anymore, these next steps. So, but it's a good habit. Good habit to at least start with, what pratyaya is being used inside the compound. You should know what meaning is coming in. So, let's now use kutadita samasascha, supo dhatu pradivitkayo, supo dhatu pradivitkayo. And then now we have to add the pratyaya ach. And of course, we'll get the form hasti varchaha. Varcha. So hasti varchasaha. So what we did was we used 5, 4, 78, which says that Brahma hastibhyam varchasaha. The Vartikam on that palyarajabhyam chiti vaktavyam. So we have the Sutram says Brahma hastibhyam. So when your Brahma hasti for the varchas pratyaya ach comes at the end, and then Vartikam adds the two palya and raja. Palya rajabhyam chiti vaktavyam. So this one we have to use that, get Brahma hasti. And of course we have to then also use 8 to 7 because of the no for Padibadikantas. So there's no, the Angam has Bhasanya here also. Yachibham. But we are not, there is no karyam. Tasambandhi karyam nasti. So we get hasti varchasam, Brahma varchasam, so something which has the Brahma varchasam means the power or the glory luster of Brahma or hasti. That is so. So that's that point. Nothing really special in this case. Only this just a simple rule. We say that if you have the varchas preceded by Brahman or hasti, that's the sutram itself, and then you have the Vartikam, which adds the two words, which is palya and raja by the Vartikam. So let me show it to you. Move on to the next thing. Brahmastibhyam paro yo varchas shabdaha tadanta samasad achpatya bhavati brahma varchasam hasti varchasam. Then palya rajabhyam chiti vaktavyam palya varchasam raja varchasam. Glory of a king, the power of someone who eats meat, palya varchasam. So varchas is a neutral word, so become palya varchasam. Okay, next one. Tamas preceded by our, some or andha. Andha tamasa. So same thing, Anantaram Sutram, nothing really, in terms of the karyam, nothing really special here. Just the same. Let's look at 5479, which is just our sam andha iti etebhyo iha paraha tamas shabdaha tadanta samasat ach pratyaya bhavati. Same pratyaya ach. Avatamasam san tamasam andha tamasam. This says avahinam santatam chatamaha andhayati iti andha andhatamasaha. Andhatamasaha, it is gadam ityartha, very deep darkness. Andhatamasam. So these are different meanings. So you can take this meaning. Now there's nothing special here. So you can say andhayati iti andha, that which is going to be in a which blinds you. So that meaning, let me give some good meaning of these words. Give me 1 second. Andhatamasaha, Vilchatamasaha, because some of these are strange kind of meanings. So andhayati iti andham, that which blinds you. So the so avatamasam, which is the tamas which has gone away. So avahinam, tamaha, avatamasam. Santamasam is which is all around. So sam means all around, which is enveloping darkness. Santamasam. Andhatamasam, which is the andayati iti andham, which blinding darkness, enveloping darkness and pervading darkness is santamasam. Avatamasam, which is avahinam, which is santatam chatamaha. So avahinam, which has gone away. Avahinam, which is gone away, far away. So okay, so let's take one of these. Let's take maybe andha, and put in the document. So this is 5479. So nothing special here. Also, we'll skip the first step and we'll just put it like that over here now. So andha, verbally I'll tell you andha plus su, tamas plus su, then make it kuttadita samasascha, supodhatu parvidikayoho, then put andha, we won't put it in the document anymore, and the tamas and the pratyaya acha, anubandha lope and we'll get the form andha tamasam, blinding darkness. Similarly, you get the forms avatamasam and santamasam, which is darkness which has gone away and darkness which is completely pervading. So let's put andha. This also has the bhasanya here also, but tasambandhi karyam nasti. There's no real special work related to that. Andha tamasam. When you decline, if andha tamasa, when you decline that, it becomes andha tamasam. Okay, that was the next thing in the book. Now let's see. I think there's one more item there from advan. Preceded by a preposition becomes adva. So this one is the upasargadadvanaha. So pragataha advanam pradvorataha. Okay, let's look at that 5485. Upasargadadvanaha. Upasargat paraha. Advan shabdaha. Turanta samasat achpratya bhavati. Pragataha advanam pradvorataha. Pradvaha. It is a chariot which has gone ahead on the road, which is progressing on the road, traveling, moving ahead. So pradvam shakatam, niradvam, satyadvam. So it is different can have different kinds of meanings. But let's take just only one of them. Now upasarga itikim. Now the upasarga here means should be upasarga. Upasarga is really kriya yoga, isn't it? But here I think kriya yoga is not possible, because this is no kriya. I think there's a commentary somewhere. Let me try to find it for you. Upasarga dadvanaha. Because upasarga is only kriya yoga. I think what he means here is that he means the pradaya. See if I can get a good comment. I was hoping Kashika would say that. Let me see. Upasarga jo pradaya. Upasarga advanaha. Okay. Because pragataha advanam. Let me see. There should be a commentary somewhere here. Should help us out. I mean, it's kind of obvious. We'd like to see the commentary, but it's somewhere. Okay, I will check it out later. But basically,
Satishji,
yes.
by me has that in page number 2. Page number 250, volume 4.
250? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Upasarga dadvanaha. Page 250. Atikranta advanam, which has gone across from.
See, he asked the question, अधिकृत है, उपसर्ग से तात्पर्य यहाँ प्रादियों में है.
Okay.
And then footnote is advashabdasya atikraya vachanatva.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you. So this is what explanation is. This is Bhaimi volume 4, page 250, in the footnote 1. Advashabdasya akriya vachanatvat tam prati upasarga sanya bhavat Upasargagrahanam Pradyupalakshanam iti Haradattaha. Who's Haradatta now? Haradatta is one who wrote the commentary on the Kashika. Haradatta Mishra. On the Kashika, there's two famous commentaries. One is the Nyasa, and then Padamanjari. Now, Nyasa is very old. It's probably more than 1,000 years old. Very old commentary. It's very nice commentary, by the way. Nyasa commentary on the Kashika is a very nice commentary. But Nyasa is old, and of course, she has been corrected many times. And so, the next one was the Padamanjari. So, Padamanjari is like an edited version, and kind of improved version, I should say, if I can say that, of Nyasa. So, Nyasa was great because he was the first one to really put a lot of these points. But, of course, the people came after him and, expanded and improved on that, corrected that in some places. That is Haradatta Mishra, very famous grammarian, Haradatta Mishra. Haradatta means that is the Padamanjari commentary. Padamanjari commentary. So looking at that one, let me look at it there. So, Upasarga Advanaha. Let's see what Haradatta says. Okay. Same thing, exactly what I told you. Adva Shabdasya Akriya Vachanatvat Tam Prati Upasarga Sanya Bhavad Upasarga Grahanam Pradyupalakshanam. So because Upasarga Kriya Yoga, right? I hope all you're following Saturday class. I hope you're following that. So this one is the 1459. I think Upasarga Kriya Yoga. So Upasarga only Kriya Yoga. The Paradis when they come Kriya Yoga, Upasarga. But when you say Advan, this is done, the Kriya Yoga is not there. So when Panini says, Upasarga Advanaha, he could not mean the Kriya Yoga. So that's what Haradatta says. Haradatta says, Adva Shabdasya Akriya Vachanatvat Tam Prati Upasarga Sanya Bhavat. When it connects with the word Advan, those Pradis cannot have Upasarga Sanya. So Tam Prati Upasarga Sanya Bhavat Upasarga Grahanam Pradyupalakshanam. It stands for Pradis. So okay, so these are going to form Pradi Samasaha. Again, we're not studied Pradi Samasaha. I'm sorry, we have to introduce all these terms which we have not studied. But the Pradi Samasaha is formed by the Susam Kugatip Pradeha. I think we referred to this briefly, I think, last time. Kugatip Pradeha. These Pradis can go in a compound. Basically, without the connection, the verb in between will be implied over there. Tatpurusha compound. It says, for example, Pragataha. Let's see Ati Atyadvanaha, which is the example given by Shastriji, and that means that Atikranta. So Atikrantaha Advanam. Atikranta Advanam. Atyadvaha. Dataha. So Nirgataha Advano, which has passed from the road. Atikrantaha, which has traversed with the road behind it. So this is, so Dushtadva Duradvaha. So it can also mean it can have to be a Bahuvri compound. It's a bad road. It's treacherous road. Dushtadvaha. Just take any one of them. I'm sorry. Dushtadvaha. Samadvaha. This pratyaya will only come to Upasargas, right? So Atikranta Dvanam. Okay, Nirgata Dvanam. Niradvanam. Dushtadva. Duradvaha. Dushtadva Duradvaha. How is it taken Dushtadva now? Sorry, give me 1 second. Duradva, I'm sorry, Duradva. Yes, it's fine, yeah. Dur plus Advan. Okay, let's put one of these here and put the other ones also. Okay, so let me take the simple one. Let's take a simple Kramadharya compound, Duradvaha. So Dur means in the sense of Dushta. Dushta, it's a bad, treacherous road. So Dur plus Dur is an avyam, so it's going to get no sup because of 2482. Supo, avyadap supaha. Avyadap supa, supluk is already taken place. So those, avyam is there, no question of sup coming after. The supluk is going to come all the time. We have to put in sup, then put the word advan. Advan. Just suit. Just keep a simple Satpurusha Kramadharya compound, a bad road, treacherous road. So, Dur Advan. You use the usual steps. You do the Supodhadu Padavidika, Kutadil Samasascha, Supodhadu Padavidika Yoho, and then the Pratyaya which is coming is the Pratyaya Ach Pratyaya Bhavati. Ach. So here also we have to use get the bhasanya. So let's put here for the time being duradvan. Duradvan. So 1 to 46, 2, 4, 71, and then we take this duradvan, add the because dur is in the pradi, So your upasarga means pradis. So take duradvan, add the pratyaya ach to it, plus ach by 5485, which is 5485, which is upasarga dadvanaha. And now going to plus. Okay. Now we're going to get the bhasanya, yachibham, nastudite, which we did before. The T bhaga takes lopaha. So we get duradva plus So it's going to become like this. Going to put it here and make it duradva plus by of course halantyam is sanya for that one, and make it yachibham nastudite. If you have a nakaranta mangam which has the bhasanya for a pratyaya which is tadhita pratyaya, takes T lopaha, duradvaha. It is a treacherous road. Similarly, atyadvaha, atikrantaha advanam. So similarly, I'm sorry, I got one similarly down here. I'm sorry. This one will go back. This is still here. Let me put this back there. Okay, here it is. Come over here. Okay. Now similarly, we have the ati. Let's take ati. Ati plus advan plus, in this case you have to use atikrantaha advanam. To go through all the same steps, and this is going to be paradi samasa. We get ati. Sorry, we get juyan sandhi. There also. So atyadvaha. We can atyadva rataha, which has traversed the road, which has gone beyond the road. Atyadvaha. So atyadva will be atyadvaha rataha, and so on. So okay, so that was the last sutram in this. So this is only a flavor for right now. We're going to come back to these later on when we study this kind of compound. What is pradi compound? What is bahuvari compound? All that we're going to see later. But please keep this in mind. It's only like a something which is to be used later. We are not really gone into detail of how the compound was formed. I hope you're getting a flavor for it. Like for example, how is atyadvaha formed? Pradi samasa, how is it formed? Karmadharya compound, duradva, how is it formed? How you formed the these other compounds, we will look at them a bit later, like the Trichaturaha and all that. We'll look at them later. So one more time, we had the pratyaya when you had rich, pur, up, dhur, pathin, but not in the meaning of axle or the axis or the wheel of a cart. Then we get the pratyaya in Saman and Lom preceded by Prati, Anu, Ava. That was 5475. 5475 was that. It's all in the same section. So we have basically used. We also start with 5473. The book doesn't have it, but upavimshaha, upadashaha we used 5473. Bahu vriho sankhyaye jaja bahuganat. Then that was the pratyaya Dutch. That is the T-lopaha. Then Rukpu Rabdhu Pathama Nakshe Nakshe. Then pratyaya was there. And after that, we got Ach Pratyan Vavapurva Samalomnaha. It had the Vartikam on there for the Bhumi, preceded by the Pandu, Udak, and Krishna. Also the number, the Pancha Bhumaha Prasadaha. Also Pancha Nadaha, Pancha Godavaraha, Pancha Godavaram, Pancha Nadam. Nadi and Godavari preceded by number, also same thing. Then we had we had a Vartikam on 5477 for Trichaturaha. Then we also had the Brahma and Hastin followed by the word Varchas, and also added also in that two more words, which is the word Palya and Rajan. They also Varchas get the, so Raja Varchasam becomes like that. Then we one more we look. There's somewhere between. We've not taken all of them, but this last one is upasarga dadvanaha. That's the last, which we just talked about that. Okay, so that is the samasanta prakaranam, a little flavor for you. Again, these are the samanya samasanta pratyaha. They are going to be for all kinds of compound. That's why he's putting in the beginning of before we get into compounds. Because no matter what compound we have, these are going to come. So when you have advan at the end, or we have, the varchas at the end, no matter what compound, a saman, loman, with those conditions, of course, you think of these pratyaha. Okay, so next thing in the book now, I think so that part is now complete. And then he starts now with the dvanda compound. So this is the viparita krama again. This is the reverse order of the ashtadhyayi. The ashtadhyayi reverse order, because in ashtadhyayi, Pani takes the charthe dvandva as the last kind of compound. Only one sutram. Only one single sutram for charthe dvandva. Yes, so that's the last sutram in this. Last was samasa vidhayaka sutreshu charamam sutram. Samasa vidhayaka sutreshu. So which sutra which authorize the compound in that section, charthe dvandva is the last, only ekameva sutram vartate, charthe dvandva. Let's look at a pretty straightforward sutram. If in the vigraha vakyam, the word cha means and, it can be used, then that kind of compound is called a dvandva samasaha. So anekam means this anuvrutti of anekam is coming down here. Anekam. So many terms can be compounded. Anekam subantam charthe vartamanam samasyate dvandva sanyascha samaso bhavati. And this one, we will go into some details next time. But this has some cha can come in details. So only in some of those meanings of cha, we can get this. Let's leave it because we have limited time left. Let's not go into all the details right now. We have 10 minutes left here. So samuchaya andvachayor asamarthyat na asi samasaha. Itara yoge samahare cha. So it's come into these two meanings. Itara yoga and samaharaha means A and B, one and the other. Itara yoga, one and the other, or as a group. There are two meanings which come. So plakshascha, these are kind of trees. Plakshascha, nyagrodhascha, plakshanaggrodhau. Dhavascha khazirascha, palashascha, dhava khazira palashaha. Vacha tvakcha, vaktvacham, and so on. Now, this is the, that's a sutra. So one more time is one single sutram. And next time, in the beginning of the class, we'll go to some details of this cha. In what meaning is cha coming in here. And which meanings that we are going to take for these compounds. And the two meanings are in the itaretara and the samahare. Itaretara, samahare. So 229 is charthe dvandva, which is the meaning of cha, which can be compounded here. Is the two meanings over here. One which is comes this, so 229 charthe dvandva. Only one sutra, charthe. Any dvandva compound, you have to come this one sutram, charthe dvandva, and it is used in itaretara, itaretara, and also samahararthe, samahararthe. Samahararthe. So in those two meanings, it is in the itaretara samahararthe. So next time we'll start with this one about the meanings of the cha. Let's look at what we'll take a little bit of time for that. And let's see what the book says, in which the various members are considered separately. Itaretara. So A and B. Very simple compound. The gender of the compound is that of its last member. Okay, now what is that? We saw this last time in the class. Is the Paraval Lingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. Paraval Lingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. Very straightforward sutram is that the Lingam Dvandva Tatpurusha compound is Paravat. Is like the gender of the last term in the compound. So he says Radha Krishna Bhyan Namaha. So Radha Krishnau. It will take the gender of the last member. So Paraval Lingam Dvandva Tatpurushayoho. So 2426 straightforward sutram. The number is dual. If there are two members, it's kind of obvious. plural if there are more than two members. So Sukham to Dukkham Sukha Dukkhe comes in Gita. Sukha Dukkhe Same Krutva Labha Labho Jaya Jayo Tato Yuddha Yujjasva Naivam Papamo Vapshasi Sukha Dukkhe Same Krutva Labha Labho Jaya Jayo Sukha Dukkhe Same Krutva Labha Labho Jaya Jayo Tato Yuddha Yujjasva Naivam Papamo Vapshasi. So Sukha Dukkhe Same Krutva. Sukha Dukkhe Same Krutva. This is in the next chapter. Sukha Dukkha. Here it is. 238 in Gita. Sukha Dukkhe Same Krutva Labha Labho Jaya Jayo. Itresa Dvandvaha means the Vigraha Vakyam will be, the Laukaka Vigraha will be Sukham Sukhancha Dukkhancha. Sukhancha Dukkhancha. That's the Vigraha Vakyam. Sukhancha Dukkhancha. Dukkhancha. And the Alaukika Vigraha is Sukha plus Su. Sukha plus Su. And then Dukkha plus Su. Dukkha plus Su. Dukkha plus Su. That's a simple, very simple, straightforward. And that is going to give you Sukha Dukkhe. Sukha Dukkhe. Sukha Dukkhe. Sukha Dukkhe. Sukha Dukkhe. Sukha Dukkhe. Now here, so let's put some numbers here. Of course, first thing we want to put here is put this Samasa Vidhayaka Sutram. That's always the first step. And that's going to be 2229. Charte Dvandvaha. Charte Dvandvaha. Charte Dvandvaha. Now Sukha Dukkhe will be Krutadisa Samasascha Supo Dhatu Pradipatikayoho 2471. Then Paraval Lingam Dhanata Surushayoho, which is you take the lingam of the last member, and this doesn't make a difference in these both are neutral anyway. And of course, because charte is one and the other, it's going to be a dual number. It's going to be a dual number because there's A and B, A and B. So Paraval Lingam Dhanata Surushayoho. So I mean, there's nothing really hard about this compound. Paraval Lingam Dhanata Surushayoho. And Gita number is 238. Gita 238. Gita 238. Now, let's see what it says in the book about Dvandva Samasa. Now, the Samahara Dvandva, which is going to be the next page. The next page. And we can give you some homework. Maybe I think give you last time. I think give it to anyway. The Samahara Dvandva is slightly different thing, because Samahara Dvandva, in which the various members are taken collectively, it's always neuter. Now, what is that now? How we get that from Kasma Sutra Ayam Artha Labhyate, Kasma Sutra Artha Labhyate. Now, how it all of a sudden how it becomes singular, how it becomes neuter. So, in the beginning of 2.2.4, it says Ekavachanam, Rigura Ekavachanam. And the Ekavachanam goes down into this Dvandvascha. Dvandvascha. This Dvandva will be Ekavachanam. It will be one group. And there are various situations in which the Dvandva will be a single group. Single group. One of them is Prani Turya Senanganam, limbs of a person's or an animal's body, and Turya and Sena, instruments or of an army. When they are compounded, they'll be treated as a group. So Panipadam. And we're going to see on the next page, there's going to be a lot more details. So let me give you just a brief description right now. So we're going to this set of rules from on the next page. If you look at the Samahara Dvandva, point 183, we are going to go into a lot of details about the section from 242 to 2416. Under what situation will the Dvandva will be Ekavachanam, will be called Samahara Dvandva, will be in the sense of, so not any Dvandva you can just make it Samahara Dvandva. There are these 15 rules. Spanini tells us when to make a Samahara Dvandva. But 242 to 2416, please take it as homework for next time. And we're going to see on the next page. Now on the next page where all this is done. On this page, he has given us just a glimpse of it. So let's look at that paragraph, and then I want to give you some more homework, which is, okay, Samahara Dvandva, in which the various members taken collectively is always neuter. Now, how come we didn't apply Paraval Lingam Dhanata Purushayoho? What happened to that one? We just talked about 2426 Paravalingam. Dhanvasatpurushayoho. Atra tu nityam napunsakalingam bhavati. Katham bhavati atra napunsakalingam. Tadvidaka sutram kutra asti. Where is the rule which gives that one? That is 2417. After Panini finishes this section of the Ekavachanam, immediately Panini says sa napunsakam. Sa napunsakam. So this samahar dvandvaha, also dvigu also, but we don't have to worry about this dvigu right now. But that's going to become the napunsaka. Napunsakalingam. So samahara dvandva is only in use singular as a group, and it also takes the napunsakalingam. So yasya ayam ekavad bhavo vihitaha. So the ekavad bhava starting from the 2421. Dvigura ekavachanam. This dvigu samasaha, special kind of a dvandva karmadhara samasa we see later, which also have the same thing. It will also be used in ekavachanam. It will also be neuter. But that's not today's topic because that is a samasa which is a subset of karmadhara samasa. We'll come to it later on. But that also...
Satishji, this causes a little bit confusion for me because when we were talking about Saptagodavari, Saptanam in Balamanorama, Saptanam Godavarinam Samaharahi iti vigraha.
Iti vigraha. That is that. Okay, in fact, you raised a good point, by the way. This samahara, in fact, very good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, now this samahara can be a confusing term. Let's take Vasu's example. Okay, Saptanam Godavarinam Samaharaha Sapta Godavaram. Correct? Sapta Godavaram. Now, what kind of samasa is that? Is that a samahara dvandvaha, or is it a dvigu samahare? How do this is very okay? This is a confusing topic. Let me just go back here for 1 second, and maybe we'll stop for today. Is that the samahara is also used in the sense, and it is confusing. It is confusing. Now, remember, Vastu, is that when we talk about the dvandva samasa, which has the two categories, itaretara and samahara dvandvaha, we have to use charthe dvandva. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget charthe dvandvaha. We say saptanam goda nadyana nadinam saptanam nadinam samaharaha saptanadam. Now there's no charthe. This is not a dvandva compound. But then how about the word samahara is coming there? Now what is that? Because we are thinking samahara is a type of dvandva. But then, as Vasu said, we're talking about saptanam nadinam samaharaha. So what is happening over there? And that is a very tricky part. We have to always be aware that the word samaharaha is also used in a kind of a dvigu compound. The dvigu compound. So just because you see the word samahara in the vigara vakyam, don't think that it has to be a dvandva. Remember charthe dvandva. So when you say sukham cha dukkham, when you say pani cha, so pani cha, padau cha, pani padam, and so on. So there you have to have the cha in the vigraha vakyam. Charthe dvandva. When you say saptanam nadinam samahara, you do have the word samahara in the vigraha vakyam. You don't have the cha. So this is not a dvandva compound. So what is happening here is that in this sutra, which is not today's topic, but I'm glad Vasu has a question because it is very confusing, is this the Dita Uttarapada Samahare Cha. This is a special kind of a karmadharya compound which has a Sankhya Purva Dvigaho. So it's a Dvigu compound, a karmadharya compound in which the first member is a number. It's called Dvigu. It comes in these meanings. Is Uttarapade Samahare Cha. So Sankhya Purva Dvigaho. So this what Vasu just, let's look at 2152. I know time is up, but let me just give this a good question. So 2152, it is, so just because you see the word samahara in the vigraha vakyam, don't immediately think it's a dvandva compound. If you don't see the cha in the vigraha vakyam, it is not a dvandva compound. Very don't forget that. So it says that taditarthe pancha kapalaha. So this uttarapade samahare cha. So this in these three meanings, because just to back up one more second, not to go into too many details for today, is that in the Karmadharya compound, which is not today's topic, a word denoting a direction or a number cannot be used unless it's sanyaya. Supposed to specific proper noun, which says Pancha Brahmanaha is not allowed. But Chaturvedaha is allowed. Because Pancha Brahmana, there is no Saptarisha also is allowed. You cannot say Saptabalakaha is not allowed. Because you don't have, you don't have any famous 7 boys. If you should refer to the Saptarisha is allowed. So it is Sanyaya, we mean Vasishtadayaha, it has to be those 7 rishis in Saptarishayaha. Dik Sankhya Sanyaya. So you can use a Digvachaka Shabda or a Sankhya Vachaka Shabda as the, to form a Karmadharya compound, which is Sanyaya. But it can also be used in this meaning of Tadhita Uttarapada Samaharecha. If you want to form a Tadhita after it, it is allowed. If you want to form Uttarapada, Pancha Brahmana Kulam is allowed. Pancha Brahmana Kulam is allowed. Because you are forming a bigger compound with Uttarapada. Uttarapada is from bigger. And Samaharecha. That's where we're getting into now. You can like we say, like Pancha, how about Ashtadhyayi? How about that one? Ashtanam Adhyayanam Samahara Ashtadhyayi. Chatushloki. Chaturnam Shlokanam Samahara Chatushloki. Chatushloki. So these kind of like, Pancha Sutri. Now this is a Dvandva compound which has a Sankhya before it, which would normally only be allowed Sanyayam, but it also extended to these 3 categories. Tadhita Uttarapada Samaharecha. This is Samahare. I mean, Sankhya Purva Samadhara is called a Drigu compound. That Drigu compound, which is not today's topic, will also have the word Samaharaha in the Vigraha Vakya. And that can confuse us, because we're expecting Samahara Dvandvaha. We're not talking about Samahara in the sense of, in the Drigu in the sense of Samahara. So please, thank you for the question. Please watch out for that one. When you see Samahara in the Vigraha Vakyam, just please check. Do you have the word Cha in there? If you don't have that, it is not a, when you say Ashtadhyayi, it is not 8 and Adhyaya separately. It is not 8 numbers separate and Adhyaya separate, 2 different things. It's not like that. Because when we say Rama Lakshmana, it is Ramaha, Lakshmanaha, 2 different people, and then it's referring to the combo A plus B. When you see Ashtadhyayi, is not like that. It is not 8 as a separate thing, Adhyaya is a separate thing. The 8 is qualifying the Adhyaya. It's a Karmadharya compound. The 8 in some way qualifies. So that's also another way to look at it. Is that number 8, or whatever it might be, is it qualifying that next item? It's a Karmadharya compound. So that is not going to be a Dvandva. It's not Charthe basically. But the word Samahara is used in the Vigraha Vakyam of a Drigu Samasaha. Please be careful of that. That is not the one we're talking. We'll come to it later. We'll come to that later. It's not the Dvandva Samasa. Not today's topic. The homework for next time is we could stop now, is the order of words Dvandva compounds. So the order of words. So quickly refresh your memory. How do you know which word to put before, which word to put in the compound? We talked about this Vyavastha which Pani does. He defines the term called Upasarjanam. Is that in a samasa, Pratama Nirdishtam, we see it next time now, Pratama Nirdishtam Samasa Upasarjanam. In the Samasa Vidayaka Vakyam, that is Pratama Nirdishtam, he gets the name Upasarjanam. And then Upasarjanam Purvam, that will go first in the compound. The problem here is that in the Dvandva compound, we have Anekam, anuvati of Anekam, many terms, Anekam. That Anekam is Pratama Nirdishtam. So now every term is going to get the Upasarjana Sanya. So now how do you know which to put first in the compound? Upasarjanam Purvam will not help us in Dvandva compound. We see next time in detail because of that Anekam. In Anekam, every term in Dvandva compound as a general rule will have Upasarjana Sanya. So Upasarjana Purva doesn't help us in any way. Now Panini has special rules, which is the homework for you for next time, which is the Dvandveghi, then this 2233, Ajadyadantam, Ajadi Adantam, and Alpashtaram. Just these three rules. Please look at the Vartikams on 2 to 34. So homework is 2 to 32, 33, 34, and that 34 has a number of Vartikams on there which are very important. So 2 to 34. There are a lot of Vartikani, and they have, and they are actually in a way more important. They are in a way more important than the sutras itself. So next time homework, what we're trying to do now is determine in a Dvandva compound which term will go first. Because the 2 to 30 Upasarjana Purvam will not help us because of the fact that in a Dvandva compound, because Anekam is a term used in the Sutram, that means every term will have the Upasarjana Sanya, will not help us to determine which one should go first. So 2 to 32 to 2 to 34 will be the, which will tell us now in a Dvandva, specifically Pani has to put specific rules now. And this 34, the important, very important Vartikani. So let's stop with that. Okay. Ramo Raja Manistada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Vijay Ramena Vyata Nishachara Chamo Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Rama Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmiyam Ramesh Ittale Sada Bhautame Bhorama Mamuddhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattuliyam Ramanama Varanane Shri Ramanama Varanana Onnameti. One more time. Happy New Year. Idam Nutanam Samvatsaram Karakyam Samvatsara. Again, I made the same mistake. Samvatsara. So Ayam Karanama Samvatsara Yushmakam Sarvesham Sukhadam Shubhadam Jnana Sukhada Jnanadaha Sarveshchadaha Bhavatu. Was we okay?